As Benjamin Franklin once said, highlighting the enduring value of learning. Today's session will offer us a unique opportunity to explore the fully funded fellowships, which will provide the faculty members with unparalleled experiences for their personal as well as professional growth. These fellowships not only offer financial support, but also facilitate cultural immersion and collaborations. The Fulbright Fellowship, in particular, stands as a flagship educational and cultural exchange program for the faculty members. I now invite Dr. Loyola Thomas, the coordinator of the Office of IR and DR, to introduce today's resource person to our virtual gathering.
Dr. Thomas, I couldn't hear you.
Leila,
yes.
Able to hear.
Yeah, now, yes.
Shinu, Miss Shinu Shoba Vincent joined the Chennai Regional Office of the United States India Educational Foundation as an administrative associate in 2015 and has been a Fulbright program coordinator since May 2021. She has over 20 years of professional experience in areas of higher education, administration, finance, and training, providing support and coordination for the Fulbright programs in the Chennai region. She holds a master's degree in business administration with a specialization in finance from the University of Madras. A brief understanding of United States India Education Foundation, UCF, is that it runs under the aegis of the US Embassy and consulates in India. What it does is it promotes mutual understanding between the citizens of India and the citizens of the USA through educational exchange of outstanding scholars, professionals, and students. Also known as the Fulbright Commission, UCF enables research, lecture, and study. UCF's professional educational advising centers are located in New Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, and Mumbai. Thank you, ma'am. May I hand over the mic to you?
Okay, let me just share my screen. Sorry about this. It's taking for some.
It's okay. You saw the share screen.
Okay,
button,
meanwhile,
right?
yeah, I saw that. So while it gets started, I'll just start my presentation. So
if somebody could mail it to me, I could share it for you also.
Wonderful. Okay, it opened. I'm just emailing it to you, ma'am. It is
You
not
can-
allowing me. I'm just forwarding it to you.
Okay, and then you can start.
Yeah, sure. I'm really sorry about this technical issue.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay, I have emailed it to you, ma'am. Okay, so thank you, Father Emmanuel, and thank you so much, Dr. Thomas, for organizing this session at a very short notice. And since Maya is not here, I'm here to present this session today. So I'll be talking about the Fulbright Nehru, Fulbright Kalam and Fulbright Fellowships that are fully funded by the US and Indian governments. So to start with one minute. Okay. Yeah. So US India Educational Foundation was started in 1950, and we will be celebrating our 75th anniversary next year with an objective of administering the Fulbright Fellowships in India. So we administer the Fulbright Fellowships for Indian citizens to do their research, teaching, or study in the US. And for US citizens to do their research or teaching at at an Indian institution. So they can come here and teach or research at an Indian institution. Apart from that, we also have this Education USA advising services, which you already know through our Education USA services. So we provide guidance through the application process for students who want to do their higher education in the US. So now I'm going to touch upon only on the Fulbright fellowships that are fully funded. Ma'am, have you downloaded the presentation?
I've downloaded it. I'm just sharing it. Okay, you
Okay,
can.
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Okay, so the Fulbright Fellowship on the whole was started in 1946 after the Second World War. So started by by Senator William Fulbright. So he thought, like after the Second World War, there was a lot of misunderstanding and misconception among the people. So he thought only through cultural exchanges between the countries, a mutual understanding can be developed, and to develop this mutual understanding, he thought an educational exchange should happen. Only then a cultural exchange can also happen. So out of the war surplus that was available after the Second World War, he actually proposed this fellowship, and that was passed in 1946. And since then, the Fulbright Fellowship has been awarded across 160 countries. So Fulbright Fellowship is one of the largest fellowships that are fully funded, and we offer over USIF has offered over 21,000 grants so far, and every year the Fulbright Commission offers 88,000 grants across this 160 countries. And so far, since 1946, we have given over 400,000 grants, over 400,000 Fulbright grants across 160 countries. So I think I would need the presentation because you'll have to look at the the fellowships that we offer. Ma'am.
I was checking with the technical team, and
I think there is some issue. Yeah.
We in Mr. Jayanti College unexpectedly experiencing some technical issues with internet, and people under the technical guys are working on it.
No
so
problem.
they are trying to figure out what is going on.
Okay.
Because we are not able to really have that synchronization of the voice and the video. not
Okay.
even able to share the screens. Sorry about that.
No problem, ma'am. One moment. Kristu Jayanti. So if you are employed, your application should be routed through a proper channel. So you should get a permission from your employer stating that you will be granted permission to apply for this fellowship. And if at all you get selected for this grant, you will be allowed to travel to the US and you will be granted leave either with pay or without pay. So that has to be clearly mentioned in the no objection certificate. So this is only for employed applicants, and you should not be holding any permanent residency in the US. So this is for US Indian passport holders, and this fellowship is we will only give preference to those who do not have recent US experience, extensive US experience. So if you have traveled to the US for academic purposes, so we will actually give preference to those who do not have any international exposure at all. So please keep in mind. So if you have already done if you have an academic exposure in the US, just give it some time. Like, we announce our fellowship every February, so you can apply maybe after 5 years of you coming back from the US. So this is what I was talking about, the master's fellowship, and only the master's fellowship are offered only under these 11 fields of study. The rest of the fellowship are offered under a larger fields. So these are the only fields that are offered for the master's program. Of course, the deadline is already over. It was yesterday, but we will announce it again next year. So if you are interested, please do apply for this fellowship. The maximum funding that we give for this fellowship is $80,000 US. Because we have this cap only for the master's fellowship, since there are institutions which offers a master's program for $40,000 US per year. Okay. $40,000 US per year, or there are fellow institutions that offer masters for $20,000 to $25,000 US per year. So it is up to the applicant to choose the institution. If you want to do your masters within the funding that is offered by the Fulbright Commission, you have to choose the institution accordingly, so that you can finish all your living expenses and the tuition and all your academic expenses in the US within that $80,000 US. So to apply for this fellowship, you should also have a 3 years of work experience in the relevant field of study. Okay, so these are the next three fellowships that I'm going to talk about. So these are the fields of study that are offered under these fellowships. So the Fulbright Nehru Doctoral Research Fellowship, Postdoctoral Research Fellowship, and the Academic and Professional Excellence Fellowships are offered under, like, almost all the major fields of studies are covered here. As you can see, like, right from agricultural sciences, anthropology, to visual arts, women and gender studies, we have everything, almost all major fields under this. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the Fulbright Nehru Doctoral Research Fellowship, I am not sure if there are research scholars who have joined this session, but if you have any research scholars working under you, or if there are people who have joined, who are currently doing their PhD program at an Indian institution, either part-time or full-time, if you have registered for your PhD on or before November 1, 2023, this fellowship is for you. So this fellowship allows you to do a part of your research at a US institution for 6 to 9 months. Of course, you should come up with a justification why your PhD research requires you to do a part of your research at a US institution. So there are people who work on American authors, or there are people like you, even if it is science, you may actually find a facility that is available only in the US, so which can help you with your PhD research. So you can come up with proposals for that and for those kind of research, and if your research gets selected, you can do a part of your PhD thesis, PhD research at a US institution. So this is for 6 to 9 months. The only expectation is that you should not be submitting your PhD thesis within 3 months of completing the Fulbright Nehru grant. That is, if you are applying for a 9-month fellowship, and you will be going in August 2025, because it will take one long year to get your final visa. So because the selection process will take that long. And if you are selected for this grant, you will start your fellowship only in August 2025. So when you start your, and if it is a 9-month grant, you will complete it maybe in May. And we expect you not to submit your thesis before June, July, August, before August 2026. So this is the only expectation out of this grant. So if you are in your final stage of your doctoral research, please do not apply for this fellowship, because this is for the next year's, next academic year. So this is only for people who are in their first, second and third year of their PhD research. The deadline for this fellowship is July 15, 2024. Okay, the next fellowship is the Fulbright Nehru Postdoctoral Research Fellowship. This is for people who have recently completed their PhD research, or who are going to complete. Like if you have already submitted your thesis, and if you think you will defend your PhD thesis by July 14, 2024, you can apply for this. You can start applying for this fellowship. We only need, like if you are going to complete your PhD program, we would require a letter from your institution saying that you have successfully defended your PhD thesis. Others can submit either your provisional PhD certificate or your degree certificate. So those who have completed your PhD program on or after July 15, 2020 are eligible for this fellowship, and this fellowship is for 8 to 24 months. So this fellowship also allows you to take a dependent along with you. We will also provide a dependent allowance, since this is the longest period of fellowship, and this is considered to be the senior research, senior visiting scholar fellowship. We allow a dependent to be, you can actually take a dependent along with you, provided they stay with you for over 80% of your grant period. And we will also provide them with a round-trip airfare. The deadline for this fellowship is July 15, 2024. The next fellowship is the Fulbright Nehru Academic and Professional Excellence Fellowship. This is for mid and senior level faculty, research scholars, or professionals who are interested in teaching or research, or do a combination of teaching and research at a US institution. So if you are an academic, you would require a PhD degree and 5 years of experience to either do a research at a US institution, or you can teach at a US institution, or you can do a combination of both. But if you are a professional and if you are interested in teaching or research at a US institution, you should have a master's degree and 5 years of work experience. This fellowship is for 4 to 9 months, and even in this fellowship, if you are applying for an 8 to 9 month grant, then you are allowed to take a dependent along with you, and we will provide the dependent allowance if they stay with you for more than 80% of your grant period. The deadline for this fellowship is July 1, 2024. Next slide, please. Yeah. Okay, so the Fulbright Kalam Climate Fellowships, so similar to the Fulbright Nehru Doctoral Research, Postdoctoral Research, and Academic and Professional Excellence Fellowship, we have a Fulbright Kalam Climate Fellowships exclusively funded for climate change related research and teaching. So if you are working on a topic that involves climate, like you could be a sociology person or an English department person or any department, but if you are working, if your research or if your teaching also includes climate, you can apply under this fellowship. Again, we have 3 categories, all the same. The grant duration is the same like the Fulbright Nehru Fellowships, and all the benefits, the grant benefits are also the same. The deadline to apply for this fellowship is July 15, 2024. So the only criteria is if you are working under climate, because we have a person who from Bangalore who went on this climate fellowship, who is a lawyer. So she worked on climate law. So if your area touches upon climate change, please consider applying for this fellowship. Another added advantage is, like, we don't get many applications under this fellowship, so the chances of getting into this fellowship is higher. Next slide, please. Okay, Hubert Humphrey Fellowship Program is a very prestigious fellowship, because the certificate that you get out of this after completing this fellowship is signed by the US President and the Secretary to the State Department. So that is it's so prestigious, and this is equivalent to a master's degree, but you will not get any credits out of this or a degree certificate when you complete this program. This is a 10-month comprehensive, so you will get intensive training on the field that you have applied for. So this is for professionals who are working under these fields of study. And if you are into development, policy making, or thinking of changing, or like if you are into development, you can apply for this fellowship, or planning, you can apply for this fellowship under any of these given areas. To apply for this fellowship, you should have a 4 years of bachelor's degree, or a 3 + 2 years of master's degree, and a 5 year of work experience. Anybody from policymakers or professionals, administrators or planners who are from government sector or private sector or NGOs or institutions can apply for this fellowship. Next slide, please. The deadline to apply for this fellowship is June 14, 2024. And next slide. So this fellowship is exclusively for people who are in English department, like young career English teachers, or students doing their masters in English or PhD program in English. And if they also know Hindi, like if you speak Hindi at home, or if you are if you know Hindi, even if it is not your mother tongue, if you know Hindi very well, if you are able to converse in Hindi, you can apply for this fellowship. This is a 9-month fellowship, which allows an English department person to go there and teach basic in Hindi at a US institution. So, but this is applied only for people who are studying English, or who are an early career English teacher. The deadline to apply for this fellowship is August 7, 2024. Next slide, please. Okay, so this may not apply for you, but we have 2 fellowships for school teachers. Of course, the deadlines are already over. So the Fulbright Nehru and the Fulbright Kalam fellowships will be announced every year in February, but the Fulbright fellowships that are funded by the US government will be announced at varied timeline, because we have to get the permission from Washington, from our partnering agency in Washington DC. So that is why the Fulbright fellowships will have deadlines, like will start early or will start late, depending on the announcing date. Yeah. So we have two fellowships for school teachers and two fellowships for school teachers. And if you know anyone like in your network who is a school teacher, please tell them that there are like two fellowships that are funded for them to go and attend seminars at a US institution, and also co-teach with a US school teacher. And you can also do a project under the semester long fellowship. So there are two fellowship. One is a 6 weeks fellowship, which allows you to attend seminars and co-teach with a US school teacher. Whatever you learn, the best practices that you can come here and implement at your school. So the second one also allows, apart from the seminars and the co-teaching activity, you will also do a project along with the other country teachers who have come on the same program. And this will also allow you to network with other country school teachers, and also you can learn the best practices from each other. Next slide, please. So we will announce this fellowship again next January. So if you know anyone, please let them know, and they can look up our website and learn about these fellowships. So last year we received 2,061 applications in total, and 138 were nominated. The success rate is 6.7%. Next slide, please, ma'am. So this is the number of fellowships that we, number of fellowships that we have awarded. So the maximum number of fellowships that was given was the doctoral research and the academic and professional excellence fellowship. Next slide, please. Okay, these are the grant benefits. We will give you a monthly stipend that will cover your living expenses in the US, and we will also provide you with a health insurance coverage, and this is applicable only for the grantee. If you are taking a dependent, you will have to take care of the dependent's health insurance. We will provide a health insurance for the grantee. And if there are any other applicable allowances, say for example, if there is an affiliation fee that you have to pay your host institution, or if there is a research expense, or if there is a book fee that you have to pay for your master's program, any other program related expenses will be taken care by the Fulbright Commission. And we will also provide you a round trip economy class air travel from your home city to the host institution. So everything is covered. You just have to apply, and if your proposal gets selected, like right from your visa interview, we will ensure that you get a visa slot, like because we will provide you with a referral visa, so you don't have to wait for a visa slot to be allotted. So everything is taken care. Since this is a government funded fellowship, like you will be treated like a cultural ambassador from India. So so you don't have to worry about anything. Next slide, please. Yeah. Next one. Yeah, you can actually complete this. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Okay, so this is the Fulbright timeline and review process, and we announce all the Fulbright Nehru and Fulbright Kalam fellowships in February 2024. And as I said earlier, the other fellowships will have will be announced as per the US norms. And these fellowships have varied deadlines right from mid-May to September 2024. Yesterday was the deadline for Master's Fellowship. So after you submit your application, we will send all your applications to a screening committee. This screening committee will have subject experts. So they will actually review your application and shortlist for further selection. So the second round of selection will be an interview, either online or in person. So these interview panels will also have subject experts and representatives from US and Indian governments. So representatives from US Embassy and representatives from the Ministry of External Affairs may be present in the panel. And after this panel meets with the applicants, so they will shortlist applicants and they will send their recommendations to a partnering agency in the US for further approval. So the final approval has to come from the US partnering agency. And once we get the final approval, we will start issuing the grant document. So under each of these these process, we have given the timeline depending on the fellowship that you apply for. The timeline varies. So this timeline is also given on our website under each of the fellowship page. So you can go through that for a detailed timeline process. And after the recommended applications are given, we will issue the grant document. And after that, we will process your J1 visa. And after which you will start traveling, like you will depart to the US to start your grant. Next slide, please, ma'am. So these are the states that we placed our Indian Fulbright scholars. You are, as an applicant, you are open to apply to any institution across US. So we don't restrict you to apply to only one institution or any particular institution. You can apply to any institution, like you are allowed to do your research or teaching at any recognized US institution. Next slide, please. Okay, we get application from all over India, and as you can see, Karnataka is one of the leading state from which we receive like many applications. So I hope to see that we get at least 1 or 2 applications this year from your institution too. Next slide, please. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to talk about briefly about the application process. All our application are online. So when you visit our website, under each of the fellowship page, you will see the link to start your application. You have to create an account and start working on your application. So each fellowship has a different deadline, as I mentioned, and you will be working on a global platform. So whatever whichever fellowship that you apply for, we only have one portal that is applicable for all 160 countries. So just make sure, just keep this in mind, because you'll be working on a platform where there will be a lot of traffic. So don't wait until the last moment. If your deadline is 15th May, please try to submit your application by 13th May, at least a couple of days in advance, because if there is a technical glitch or if there is any issue with the platform itself, we will not be able to help you with that, because once you submit your application, if there is any missing document, we can actually follow up and get it from the applicant. But if you have not submitted the application at all, we cannot consider your application. So it is always better that you complete your application to at least 2 days ahead of your application deadline. So depending on the fellowship that you apply, you will have to submit either, you will have to choose either 2 or 3 referees to recommend your applications. So these referees should be your, again, depending on your fellowship that you apply for, it will be either your supervisor or your or a person who knows you in professional capacity. Under any circumstances, you cannot get a reference report from your personal contacts. It should be only through your professional contacts. So this person should be, the referee should be aware of what work you do. So just send them your CV and your updated CV and your project proposal, so that they can actually give a good recommendation based on the proposal that you are submitting. Also, choose your referees very carefully. So for PhD scholars, you should also get it from one reference report should be from your PhD supervisor. So identify your referees carefully and give them enough time, because you can, if you are if you're starting to work on your application, you can right away include your referees. If you have identified your referees, add their name and their email ID, and a link will be sent to their email IDs to complete the reference report. These are confidential reference reports, so you will not be able to see what they are writing. So just choose your referees carefully who can actually give you good recommendation letters, and tell them that you have included them as referees, and give them enough time, because out of goodwill they are doing this. So it is you who are going on the grant, and they are not going to get anything out of it. So just give them at least 2 or 3 weeks time to complete this, because the reference report definitely they'll have to think about it and write about you. So it may take a couple of hours. So just give them enough time and follow up with them politely and get this reference report. These reference reports can be submitted even before you submit your application. It will automatically get connected with your application. Next slide, please. Okay, so irrespective of the fellowship that you apply for, each of these fellowship will have applicant instructions on the fellowship page on our website. So download the applicant instruction and keep it handy while you are working on your application, because it is a comprehensive step-by-step process. If you follow that, you will not make any mistakes, and you will know that these are the documents and these are the word limits for each of the sections. So everything is given in that very clearly. So just follow those steps and you will be fine. Also download the applicant checklist, which will have the documents that needs to be uploaded along with your application. So you may have to you will have to upload academic records, and if you are employed, your employer endorsement form or letter of support from home institution, that is the no objection certificate, and other documents depending on the fellowship. So just download the checklist so that you will know what kind of documents you need to upload along with your application. Applicant annexure is something that is a country specific document. So when you, as I told you, you'll be working on a global platform, and you may not see the fellowships that are the field of study that are offered in India, because this is an India specific field of study that we are offering, that I have already in the previous slide, you would have seen the fields of study. So these are India specific fields. And if you're not seeing those fields in the eligible fields that you are working on, don't worry, you can actually choose whichever is closest to your major area. Say, for example, if you are applying under climate change, you will not see that on the global platform. You'll have to choose whichever is closest, either environmental sciences or chemistry. Like under that, you can even choose atmospheric chemistry or climatology, which is closest to your USIF's eligible field of study. Next slide, please. Okay, these are the resources to prepare the applications. Like, as I said, just read through the applicant instruction and follow that while you are working on the application. Attend the mentoring program. So we are organizing mentoring session for each of our fellowship. We are giving writing tips. We have these panel discussions on writing tips, and we will have recent Indian Fulbright scholars who will be giving you tips on writing. And also the schedule of these events are listed on our website. You can register for these mentoring sessions and attend those mentoring sessions, whichever fellowship that you are applying for. You can reach out to Indian Fulbright alumni. So you can visit our current fellows tab on our USIF website, and you will see the last 3 years Fulbright scholars. This will be relevant for both the sides. Like, you can visit the Indian Fulbright scholars to know what kind of proposals are approved, and if you want to connect with an Indian alumni, you can see whether there are anybody who have gone from your field, and try to connect with them. You can actually tell us if you want to connect with a particular Fulbright alumni. You can write to us and say that you want to connect with that person, and we will put you in touch with that person after getting their consent. So for similarly for the US side, you will you will have to actually identify US universities. If you are not able to identify, a good way to identify US universities is looking at the current fellows list, and you will see the last 3 years US research scholars who have worked in India. So if you identify someone who has worked in your field, you can try to connect with that person and see if that person is interested in your proposal, and whether they are willing to host you on their campus. Since they are already on the Fulbright grant, they know about the Fulbright Fellowship, so it will be easy for you to get an invitation letter from a US faculty. So the other ways are, like, of course, you can follow us on our social media platforms. We post videos and stories about our Fulbright scholars who have talked about their Fulbright experiences and how they have represented themselves as a cultural ambassador. So just visit all these resources and make use of these resources. Next slide, please. Okay, these are the things that we look for in a research proposal. So you should provide a clear and detailed description of your research objectives. So in your proposal, it should be clear like why this research is important, because there are like many researches that are happening, but why this particular research is very important, that two governments should fund this. If two governments have to fund your fellowship, it should be that important. Also, any research can be done anywhere, but why in the US? So you can mention whether there is a facility that is available only in the US, or you want to work with a particular person who is in the US, or if you want to do a comparative study. Like, you have to come up with a plan. I'm just giving you some tips, but you have to come up with a plan, like how to give a proposal that justifies that you have to do this research in the US. And also explain how your project can be completed within the time frame, because when you look at our fellowships, all have like it is either from 8 to 24 months, 6 to 9 months, or 4 to 9 months. It's like that. So you have to propose a grant time period, and you have to also give us a schedule in which timeline schedule under which you will finish your research proposal. So you have to say that this is what you intend to do, and you would require like this many months to complete your research, and what will you be doing in those many months is what you have to put in. So say, for example, if you have to get any additional approval from US institution or from US authorities, government authorities, to start your research, if you are working on human subjects, if you have to get IRB approval, you will need more timing for that. So include that also while checking with the US institution, while sending your proposal. And if your proposal is, if a US host institution is accepting your proposal, just check with them if there are any other requirement is there to get an approval. So if there is a requirement, add that timeline also into your proposal, so that you won't like your research period will not be cut off. Also, show how your proposal fits into your current training, like what you are currently doing and how this is going to help with your future objectives. Mention US universities. You should definitely give us US university preferences. So we don't expect you to give us invitation letter. The invitation letter is not a mandatory document, but you should give us your preferred US university list. So there are, depending on the institute, on the fellowship, you will have to give us either 3 or 4 preferred US institution according to the rank order, like your preference rank order. So you have to tell us, so you have to identify. I would suggest that you identify at least like 10 to 15 US institution, contact with them, like write to the professors and see which professor is interested in your research proposal. You just have to mention that you are applying for the Fulbright Fellowship, and they will know that that there is no financial implication on their part. They can if they are okay, if they are interested with your institution, they will definitely give you an invitation letter. So at the time of submission of your application, if you don't have an invitation letter, please do not worry, because we don't select the proposal based on the invitation letter. Your proposals are selected only based on the merit of your proposal. So if you have not cracked that contact, if you are not able to get an invitation letter from a US university, we will get in touch with our partnering agency, and we will make sure that we put you in one of the US preferred institution that you have given us. Next slide, please. This is lecturing proposal. For lecturing proposal, you have to be really specific, because you have to, if you are like, if your expertise is required at a US institution, they would want you to come to the US. So for this, you definitely have to have an invitation letter, because the US host institution should allow you to teach. So you should familiarize with the courses that are offered on US campuses, the structure that they follow, the pedagogy that they follow, and the grading system they follow. Also, you can do a full course, like you can teach a full course or team teach with a US faculty, or do a series of seminar. So if you are proposing for a research and lecturing fellowship under the Academic and Professional Excellence Fellowship, you can do teaching, you can do your research and also do series of seminar at that institution. So to propose a lecturing proposal, you should actually have a contact in the US, because only then you will know like what kind of requirement is there, and whether your expertise will help the US institution. And if you know a US faculty already, if you and if that person wants you on their campus, and if you want to co-teach with that US faculty, this is your chance. Please apply for this fellowship. You should also mention in your proposal how like what have you been doing like in your career, and how you've been how you've been contributing to curriculum development or thesis guidance, and how important this is for your career and for your institution. Like your experience in the US will help you in your career and your institution, and how your expertise will help a US campus. So if you are able to justify all this and come up with a proposal, you can apply for this fellowship. Next slide, please. I will take the questions. I'm going to finish my presentation. I will take the questions after this. So this is the selection criteria. So we will look at your academic credentials and professional ability, of course. So as I said earlier, your merit of the proposed Fulbright project is important. So irrespective of the others, the merit of the proposal is what we look at the first. So just make sure that this project, like why this project is important, and why the government has to fund your proposal, how important it is, and why this research or this study has to be done in the US. Like why can't anywhere else? So that justification has to be done, and also mention what will be the outcome and the impact, potential impact and benefits. So all our Fulbright, like the main objective of the Fulbright Fellowship is to give it back to the community. So what it is to go learn and understand and come back and give it back to your own community is what we expect. Ma'am, the previous slide, please. Yeah. So you have to mention what would be the outcome of the fellowship of the proposal. Also, we look at your motivation, seriousness of the purpose, your maturity level, and the leadership quality and your cultural adaptability. So the motivation and seriousness will be seen through how you are contacting your US host institution, because though we say that we don't need invitation letter, the invitation letter is not a requirement. But if you have interacted with a US institution, though if you don't get an invitation letter, you can attach those email conversation that you have made with US institution, because that shows how serious you are in getting this grant. So just attach those emails. And of course, your leadership quality, you can mention about your leadership skills, and you can also request your referees to talk about your leadership skills. And cultural adaptability, yes, it is very important, because you will be working in the US, and however we know that we think that we know about their culture, we will all have cultural shock when we go there. So we should be able to understand and respect their culture like we expect them to do that. So this cultural adaptability question and being a cultural ambassador in the US question will be asked in your interviews. So just make sure that you are prepared to answer those questions. To answer these questions, you can actually look up the resources. Like you can look up the social media pages where you'll see our Fulbright scholars stories. So and we will also look at your communication skill and the commitment to the community. So we expect you to give it back to the community, whatever you learn. So it should have an impact on the community. So whatever proposal you are giving, it should have an impact. So that's the end of the presentation of the Fulbright Fellowships for Indian citizens. So you can, as an Indian institution, you have these three possibilities of working with US Fulbright scholars. So either you can apply for a Fulbright specialist program. So yesterday was we have actually extended the deadline to May 31st, 2024. So this specialist program is for you to invite a specialist either for curriculum building, or if you want to have any specific workshop for your students or faculty, like a professional training or any specific subject expert. If you want to invite a subject expert to your campus to a particular department, you can do this. This fellowship is for 2 to 6 weeks, but this is a co-funded fellowship. Only this fellowship, under this fellowship, you will have to fund the in-country expenses, that is to the workshop expenses and to host the US specialist in the on your campus, like accommodation and the meal expenses have to be met by the Indian institution, but we will take care of the flight travel and the honorarium that is paid to the specialist. So which the Indian host institution cost is not much. It's just an in-country cost, and this is a very small, like a very limited time, like which is like only for 2 to 6 weeks. You can actually extend an invitation letter, like you apply for US institution. If there are any person who is looking to come to the US, like if you want to invite a person to teach at your institution or do a research, collaborate and research with the US faculty, if you want to invite them, you can actually extend an invitation letter. You can request them to apply for Fulbright Fellowship from the US side and choose your institution as their host institution, and you can extend your invitation letter. Even otherwise, if we get any requests, like if the US applicants are unable to identify Indian institution, and if they request us as an Indian agency, we will also check. We can also check with you if you are interested, but you have to let us know whether you are interested in hosting a US Fulbright scholar. Under this, you will not have any financial implication, because everything is funded by the Fulbright Commission. The last thing is, at any given point, we will have US Fulbright scholars who are present who are affiliated at Indian institutions. So if you are having a very particular conference or a workshop, or if you want to invite them for a seminar or a subject or a department specific workshop or a day-long conference, you can invite our US Fulbright scholars to your campus. So if you are inviting them in person, so you may have to you will have to take care of their domestic travel. If they are in Bangalore, yes, you can actually just take on their conveyance. Or if you want to invite a person from, say, from Chennai or Kolkata or Delhi, you'll have to take care of their travel from Delhi to Bangalore and their accommodation in Bangalore, and use their resources. But you can also have them involved virtually if the scholar is okay with it. Like, if you are interested, just write to us. If you identify a scholar under the current fellows who you think would be a great resource for your on your campus, for your students or faculty, just let us know and we will put you in touch with that scholar. And if things work out, they can either travel to your institution and give a talk, or they can give a talk virtually as well, which will not involve any financial cost. Next slide, please. So that's the end of my presentation. So those are the 3 ways that you can collaborate with US institution. So this is our central office in Delhi, that is called the Fulbright House, and we have our regional offices in Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai, and Hyderabad. The Chennai office, regional office, is inside the US Consulate in Chennai, and our office takes care of the Fulbright Fellowship from Karnataka, Kerala, Puducherry, Tamil Nadu, Andaman Nicobar, and Lakshadweep Islands. Yeah, so this is our website, usief.org.in, and if you have any questions, you can actually write to me. Our email ID is also given under this. I think it's hidden because of the screen. Ma'am, can you actually remove that? What? Okay, I can actually type my email ID in this.
Yes, ma'am, because on my end, nothing is blocking the.
Okay, yes. So this is our email ID, and if you have any questions, you can also call me. So we are available from 9 to 5 in the office on weekdays. So you can call us, or you can write to us on this email ID, and we will definitely respond within, like, on the same day mostly. But if it is a weekend or if we are traveling, it may take a couple of days.
Shall I stop share, ma'am?
Yeah.
I think there are a couple of questions.
Yes.
Are you able to see it, ma'am?
One moment, let me just see.
In the chat box, I could read them out for you also.
Yeah, please.
This is by Dr. Ravi Kumar, who asks, what fellowships would you recommend for literature teachers with a literature background? Can we do it? Does it necessarily have to be collaborative, or can it be an individual effort?
See, I think I have covered this. Like, if you are proposing for a lecturing fellowship, it is up to you to come up with a plan. You can either do a collaborative thing. Even for research, it is like that. If you want to do a research with a US faculty there, you can do that. Like, many of our scholars do that as well. So it is up to the applicant to come up with a plan. So we don't restrict anything. Only based on the merit of the proposal that we select the applications. Also, for what kind of fellowship I would recommend is, like, see, if you have completed your PhD recently, then you can apply for the postdoctoral research fellowship, like, which is after July 15, 2020. you can apply for that, because that is a 2-year long fellowship. So you'll get like 2 years to do your research in the US. But if you have crossed that thing, like if you have got your PhD like much earlier, you can apply for the academic and professional excellence fellowship. I think that is the that applies to you if you have 5 years of work experience.
Then the next question is Preeti S. from the Department of English again. Thank you, ma'am, for the insightful session. Could you please highlight the process of evaluation during the fellowship program?
I think that is also something that I've covered, like the first level of selection will be done by the subject experts. So what I would recommend is that please make sure that your proposal is very clear, because the first round is just shortlisted based on the paper that you submit. So you will not be there to justify or convey what you actually think, whether they take it in the right sense or not. So just make sure, maybe you can actually send it to your peers and make them read and see whether they understand your proposal. So that is important. So just the first level, as I said, it's only based on the application that you submit. Only in the second round, you will be able to answer the questions. So just make sure that your proposal is strong enough. Yeah.
Just 2 more questions, ma'am,
Yeah,
if
sure.
I may. What are the eligibility criteria for students to apply for a PhD program through the fellowship?
PhD, like if you have registered for your PhD program at an Indian institution on or before November 1, 2023, you are eligible to apply for this fellowship. Of course, as I said, you should, there should be a requirement why you have to do a part of your research in the US. Say, I'll take the literature as an example. If you are working on American literature, or if you are working on a particular author, and if you think that there are more archives or more study material that is available in the US, or for in this under the science, if you think that there is a lab facility that is available only in the US, or if you want to do a comparative study, or if you think that there is a professor who is working under this specific research area, and you want to work with that professor and add value to your PhD thesis, like you have to come up with a plan. If there is a justification, we will definitely consider your application. Other eligibility criteria is that you have to get one recommendation letter from your PhD supervisor, and you should of course submit your PhD registration certificate to prove that you have registered with an Indian institution before November 1.
Thank you, ma'am. There's a question from Dr. Irona who asks, can we apply for 2 fellowships simultaneously?
No. Okay, so you are allowed to apply only to one fellowship under one academic cycle. So if you are applying for the Fulbright Nehru Academic and Excellence Fellowship, you may, like, Hubert Humphrey is the only exemption that you can apply. Like if you are applying under any of these fellowships, like under the Fulbright Nehru and Fulbright Kalam, you can still apply to the Humphrey Fellowship if you are eligible for that. But otherwise, you cannot apply for 2 fellowships in the same cycle.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for that insightful session and telling us all the tips for the application procedure throughout. So this was really a comprehensible presentation, very helpful for all the faculties present today. As James Allen said, there is nothing more urgent than thanking and being grateful. I request Dr. Shinu George to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Jayanti. Gratitude is when memory is stored in the heart and not in the mind. Lionel Culture. A very good evening to all those people attending this webinar. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mrs. Shinu Shoba Vincent, the Fulbright Program Coordinator for the US Consulate in Chennai, She provided us with a comprehensive overview of the application process, including the various requirements and necessary steps to apply. Her guidance and insights were invaluable to us. On behalf of the management of Jayanti College and the Office of International and Domestic Relations at Jayanti College and all the participants, I would like to express our sincere gratitude. I express our heartfelt gratitude to the management of Jayanti College for helping us in organizing this webinar. It is the perseverance and dedication of Father Emmanuel PJ, Director of the Office of International and Domestic Relations at Jayanti College, that has culminated in the organization of this webinar. I express my heartfelt gratitude to Father Emmanuel PJ for helping us organize this seminar. I take this opportunity to sincerely thank all the faculty for their active participation. Last but not least, I thank all the IR office coordinators, particularly Layola ma'am and Renu ma'am, for being part of this initiative. Thank you once again, everyone.
Thank you, Shinu ma'am.
Thank you so much for being very patient because of all the technical issue. We started the session very late. I'm so sorry about that. And thank you so much for being very patient and listening through my presentation throughout.
Thank you. Ma'am, can we have a photo session?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Once again, sorry, there was a technical issues here on the campus. We verified that unexpectedly we have lost some internet routers which were not able to support the gathering here, and we somehow managed. But thank you so much, Ms. Shinu, Vincent, for guiding us. We will be troubling you more when and where
Please.
we get to insights, and we will be coming back to you.
I expect more questions, and I'm always here in the office, so you can actually email or call me if you have any questions. I'm open to take questions, and I'll be happy to guide you through the application process. One-on-one guidance can also be given. Please do get in touch with me.
Sure, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Wishing you a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, dear participants, for joining. We'll end the meeting. Thank you, brother.
Welcome.